The live-action legend of the girl who must pretend to be a man in order to bring honor to her family. No songs, no Eddie Murphy dragons.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with Andre,
Michelle,
Emily,
And Luis.
We are a family-friendly podcast where each and every week we watch and review a different Disney movie. Be sure to subscribe on all podcast platforms and YouTube. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 116.
it's 116.
116.
You can't do 116.
Well,
forever. It's gonna be 172.
yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't know, but I have a baby by 172.
This is
What?
This is
going
has been
on
all
with
day.
you?
This week
Moving
we
on.
are talking about the brand new live action 2020 Disney Plus film
2020.
Mulan.
2020.
Shmulan.
Just to let you guys know, we
Shmoo
are gonna, this movie just came out on Disney Plus on September 4th, which is
yeah, so I guess if you don't want to get spoiled, don't listen to it.
Right, we
You
are.
don't want to get spoiled.
I mean, you probably already know how it ends a little bit, but we are going to spoil the details of the movie. So if you don't care, stick around. If you do care,
Stick around if you don't care to get spoiled by us.
well, let's do non-spoilery things for
Well,
our
how do you even do non-spoiler?
for our first impressions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Luis, first impression.
I didn't watch it. I'm not paying money on something I already paid for to pay to watch.
Now,
Now this
But
is
I will watch it when it's free, and I can't wait.
in December.
I don't care. I didn't pay for it. I'm not going to pay
The point
for
is,
something where I'm already paying
you
money.
literally didn't pay for it. Me and Andre did.
It's my principle. I'm not going to watch something. I'm not going to pay to watch something where I already pay to have it. And I'm not going to pay to own it on something I already paid to own.
so the way that I view it is just like going to the movies,
Yeah.
basically, is that
I spend more money at the
I'm
movies.
gonna spend
Heck yeah.
this large amount of money to go see this brand new movie now, and then it'll become available to me in some other format later down the road, and I could purchase it again if I wanted to.
I'll tell y'all what. Once it's free on Disney Plus, let's go ahead and go into our bank accounts and find the purchase of Mulan there. Okay? Pretty sure I will win in terms of how much I saved for.
$30.
I
I mean,
Having
you'll
to
save
buy
$30
it.
bucks. Yeah,
I
Save
mean,
$29.99.
it's pretty easy. It was $30.
not too much math that we got to do
Good
there.
God.
So-
I'm not gonna go back in time. Just so y'all know, this is how it went down. Emily got off work and drove over to Andre and Michelle's house, and we watched it on their very, very large TV.
Yes.
our famous
It was
TV.
very nice.
I was even willing to come here, but Andre was like,
You guys do have a better TV, so once it gets free on Disney Plus, I'm going to go break into your guys' homes.
You don't have to break
You
in.
could-
You can knock on the door.
You could come over tonight and watch it if you wanted to.
I will wait when it's free.
I literally
But okay, wait,
am so
Luis,
annoyed right now.
I just need to understand why we can't pay for it and you just come over
Yeah, it's a gift.
because you do that with us all the time. You have
I
Blu-rays
did-
that you purchased that I definitely didn't purchase, and we borrowed them and come over and
Yeah.
watched them. How is it different?
That's a good point.
Let me think about this one because no one's really asked me in that capacity.
It's
I'm
basically
about
the
to spoil this movie for him
same.
so bad.
It's basically the same, Luis.
So he doesn't have a first impression. That's
So
the point.
here's my
Okay,
example.
here's where it's
Wait,
different.
After
Well, if I want to
Let
say
Luis
it,
go.
so to
Go.
speak,
Go.
here's where it's different. Okay. I'm not paying money to
Rent.
buy something that on a platform that I already pay for monthly. Okay, I don't pay for my movies anywhere. It's free. So when I purchase the DVD, I'm purchasing the DVD itself. And I'm not purchasing it on top of something that I already have to pay money for to have.
Okay.
That's what it is. It's like it's already going to be free, and I already own where it could be free. Why am I going to pay extra money
Because it's new.
when I can already get it for free later? because I already paid them money.
Because it's new.
And because it was supposed
It's
to come
like
out in
paying
theaters and they're
someone
trying to
when you
recoup their
die.
funds.
It's no, it's not like paying someone when we die. It's like just paying.
But it didn't come out in the theater, so it's new content, so they're going to make you pay for it.
And
right.
and like I said, that's understandable, but I'm gonna go ahead and wait to watch it.
Okay.
All right.
You know,
Although he's part of a Disney podcast, and this is the movie
and
we
it really
did.
comes
This.
down to this. Like, I get you're trying to recoup your money. I get it.
I mean, not even that, honestly.
Technically, our listeners paid for it because we'd probably just use the Patreon money to rent the movie.
I mean, I guess in theory, but
Well,
at
you
the
know
same
what?
time,
I'm gonna
as
end there
you,
because I'm not gonna get
patrons.
any more political or anything. Just I'm gonna end it there.
no, okay. So let me
Fair
just
enough.
say this: that me as an individual had, even if we weren't doing this Disney podcast, if we were in this same exact situation,
Me and Andre would be in the theater.
and we're at home and they're not releasing things in the movie theater, but this brand new big movie is coming out, and I only have to pay $30 to access it, and the more people I invite over, the less that really is to me in my eyes. I'm paying for all these people to see it. I would have done it anyway. I would have done this with Mulan. If they do this with Black Widow, I'm going to do it. If they do this with Tenet, I'm going to do it. I love watching movies, so it doesn't matter to
I know.
me.
Yeah.
I know what we should do. You and I paid
Okay.
$30 for it, and then my sister was like, "Can I have your logon info so I can watch Mulan?" And I said yes. We should have said yes for $5, and then the next person, no, yes for $5.
Well, yeah, we could have.
And then we made a profit.
We could have made a profit off of it, I suppose. But once again, that's
That's
not
probably
my
That also
aim.
probably, eventually would have been illegal.
Yeah.
They would
Yeah.
have probably not said that on our podcast. I may need to go back and delete.
It hasn't happened, so whatever.
Michelle's over here
So here's
scheming.
the deal. Here's the
Conspiracy.
deal, and I'll end it with this. If Disney's gonna allow other platforms for you to purchase it on other platforms, okay, then it may have been justified. Okay. But
Right.
if they're only going to allow people to purchase it on Disney Plus, like for example, if I can't get on there and purchase it through Amazon on the Fire Stick,
Right.
then it would prove my point. It's unfair because you have to pay a monthly subscription to even stand a chance to give them more money when they could have made it for free because you already pay a monthly subscription.
I think it's
to
fair
them.
though because
Right.
it didn't come out in the theater, so they weren't going to make any money. So that was their way of making something.
Okay,
Well,
I
yeah,
wasn't
that's
going to
Disney's
go
money.
political on this, but here's my thing. What
Oh,
are
here
they
we go.
doing for all of their Disney Parks employees who they had to lay off because of this?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to it.
And this is where I'm sticking to it. I love Disney. Okay? I love them. But don't sit here and tell me you want to recoup your company's money and then and then not really give us details as to what you're doing to your employees who you pay minimum wage to, apparently. Well, that may be wrong. I don't know. That's just what I've heard. And then you had to lay them off because of Corona, and I guess it's not your fault. I'll give you that. But don't sit here and tell me you're going to recoup funds for your company because you lost money. What about them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
That's it. I don't want.
Right. I don't know what they're
Yeah.
doing necessarily with this money. I mean, they definitely didn't promise to be like, okay, as soon as we get all of our Disney Plus Mulan money, we're going to redistribute it to the families of our
That's
fired
just any
employees.
business
But
right
but
now.
they might be doing some
True.
kind of program or
Hey.
something like. I don't know. I'm not in the thing.
Here's the deal. If you go ahead and do all that, I will swallow every single word I said. I will go ahead and eat fish. Okay.
Fish.
I viewers, I hate fish. Okay, I will go ahead and
He'd rather
fish.
eat crow.
Eat
than
All right,
fish.
and eat fish while I pay $30 to purchase a movie that I could potentially watch for free.
Right.
If that's where the money's going, then okay, cool. I'll eat all my words. But I'm just, to me, it's like. That's why I didn't want to get
It's okay,
political on
Luis.
this. I'm
we
not
get
gonna-
it.
I'm not going to
No,
feed money to
every-
the
I
pocket
let
of a
Disney take my
corporate
money.
business.
I don't care.
Right. Everything you're saying is making sense. The only I'm not disagreeing with you at all. It's just that, like, in my mind, that I can't put my brain on that level of.
Well, and Andre's
Um,
want it's just you just have to go over want versus need.
Andre
You-
loves
Andre
movies,
needs to
and
watch
if
this
there's
movie.
Right.
literally any movie available, he will be purchasing it
No, that's what I'm
without a
saying.
doubt
So
because he
Andre
can't go
real-
to the theater.
Andre really wants to watch it. Luis, regardless of if he wants to or not, he feels like so strongly about it that it outweighs his want to watch
right.
it.
Exactly.
And
Peeps, I haven't bought a parachute, but the first I went 10 years
A
without buying a
parachute?
pair of shoes.
Oh, a pair of
Okay.
shoes.
Yeah,
I thought you said a
shoes.
parachute.
Okay.
I was like, why do you need
I
one?
probably bought my first pair of shoes in 8-10 years when I met my wife.
This is not true information.
Very true.
This has been the worst 20 minutes beginning of an episode.
We're only
ever.
10 minutes in.
Well, it's felt like 75. Can
Yeah.
we be over?
But it's very possible that some of you out there have had this very dilemma on am I going to spend all of this money to watch this movie that should have come out several months ago and I should have been able to go see for $12 or whatever by myself. But Disney's got other plans, and whether those plans fit into your lifestyle or not, I guess is fairly relevant, right, to the current situations that we're all in.
I'm sure this movie's lit, and I'm gonna watch it when it's free.
Well, we'll talk about whether it's lit or not. So
Yee.
let's go into Andre. First impression of live action Mulan.
Oh, okay. This movie, without giving any spoilers, we're still in non-spoiler territory,
you're
I
trying
suppose.
to, okay.
Well, no.
Well, yeah, it's a first impression.
Yeah, it's my
not
first impression.
details.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna say that I enjoyed this a lot. It didn't quite meet my expectations of what I thought it was going to be. It's very different from the animated version, which I appreciate a lot. But most of those differences are good. But some of the way that this movie uses its budget and the way that it's shot is not. It wasn't as impressive as some of the trailers made it out to be. But overall, it's a fun movie to watch, and I'll probably watch it again just to get that $30 back. You know what I'm saying?
No, today we were like, should we watch it again right now? We didn't end up watching it again, but
Yeah,
we probably
I definitely
will
thought
soon.
about it. Yeah.
All right, Emily, first impression.
Overall, I liked this movie. Similar to Andre, I think that as it kind of reimagining a known story, they did a good job. But excuse me, I like the premise of the story
Mm-hmm.
and the changes that they did. But I think that the story itself was not very strongly executed.
Right.
It was falling just a little underneath all of the scenes where I was like, "Ooh yeah," and then it was like, "Oh, kind of lackluster maybe."
Right. Just
but
under par.
overall, it was so appealing. It was gorgeous. The music, the soundtrack, the score,
Yeah, that was great.
gorgeous.
Yeah, all good. I liked her a lot.
I liked her.
Yifei Liu.
The casting was fantastic.
Yes.
But the story to me had some weird, not as strong areas as I was expecting.
Yeah, it wasn't as cohesive as the animated,
No.
I'd say.
Mm-mm.
All right, well, I'll give my first impression, but this is the thing, is I went into this movie with very, 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 very high expectations because the trailers for this were BA.
Yeah,
And
they
then-
were dynamic.
Quite cool.
For sure. So I was like, this is going to be the best live action ever. I'm actually going to like this live action because I don't really like the live action remakes. I was very disappointed in Lion King. Just none of the live actions really hit for me. So it was good. It did not meet my expectations at all. I was ready for it to be a lot more action and crazy than it was.
Right.
Emily, it was there, but the storyline fell short, or scenes that could have been really great. It was you could have just done a little bit more, just a little bit. But visually, stunning. Costuming,
Oh,
110% amazing.
Yeah.
And the score, absolutely gorgeous. And
Yeah.
it was very fun to watch, live action fighting in general. I love watching that kind of stuff, so that was all fun.
yeah.
This is a kung fu movie.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
It's a cool kung fu movie.
And that's why I can't wait to watch it for free.
It's dope, man. You're gonna like.
You're
the
gonna-
action
I have
you-
the
aspects.
man.
But I need you to back it up because I semi-agree with you, but I don't
Okay.
fully agree with you
Okay.
saying that this is a kung fu movie. Because
That's all they were trying to do.
they were trying to make
Right.
this a kung fu movie.
Yes.
And it just needed more.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
needed more
Yeah.
real fighting for me to feel dang. Because
Right.
there were moments of dang. But I never got the wow.
Right. It never blew your mind.
No, the
you know?
one thing that blew your mind was in kind of a random spot, and I feel like everyone would pretty much agree with that one thing, like she did,
Yeah.
like that blew
Yeah.
your mind. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, anywho, I do
Yeah.
have some first impressions from viewers.
Oh, yes.
If you
please.
guys are cool with
Sick.
that.
Sick.
So I've gotten kind of a lot of feedback from some of our friends and people on our social media accounts. So I just thought that we'd give some people some shout outs because I think it's fun that we're all kind of watching something for the first time together and being able to
Right?
record right
Right.
away.
So
we don't
fun.
really get to do this very often. So we have close friends that are the Dominguez family. So our friends Juan and Elle, they're
Shout
on
out.
social media. They're at eDominguez8 and J Dominguez with no, I don't know,
With an
what's the
underscore?
opposite of vowels? No vowels.
Oh.
No vowels.
Underscore 88.
What's the opposite?
They they said that it's the best. They think it's the best live action that they've seen so far. They
Okay.
said super dope, and that they really liked that there was like a woman ninja type character. And that she was out there saving everybody.
Yeah.
It was cool to see a woman doing that.
Yeah,
on
it
screen.
was.
I totally agree. And then the Parrish family, our favorite, Rich and Liz.
Shout out, shout out.
At Wolfman_Rich, Mr. Richie was like, I need to learn how to do that spear arrow kick right now.
Yes.
And I think everyone agrees with you, Richie. I mean, that was one of the coolest moments.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
And so thank you for that. And then I think we need to talk about the Brown family. Mr. Jeremy A. Brown on Instagram. He is obviously a very big fan, but we haven't heard from him before, so we're super excited to
Yeah,
have
homie,
met
Hi,
and
what's up?
connected with
Jeremy.
you.
What's happening, Jeremy?
What up?
He called out Luis on Instagram, and it literally
Wait,
made.
what?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he was out
I don't think I
there.
read it.
It was very.
Do
it
you
was-
have it up?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
He said, Luis must watch Mulan. He suggested The Good Dinosaur. Anyone who voiced that piece of garbage on anyone can't opt out of any future films.
Jeremy. That
And-
is so funny.
And pretty much, we love you, Jeremy, because he's nice about it. He's like, big fan of the podcast. To be fair to Luis, he did recommend Togo and McFarland USA.
Both
He
good.
also
Very
correctly
true.
identified Olaf as the most annoying character in cinematic history.
All
Luis
right.
is shaking his head right now. He's like, yep.
And he said, but then he suggested The Good Dinosaur and The Big Green, two of the worst films I've ever seen.
Jeremy.
Dude, and Luis tricked us with the big green too. What did he say the next episode? He's like, I didn't say it was good. Like, what's wrong with you?
Well, it's funny because when I read him that comment, he was like, Jeremy, yeah, Olaf, yeah. Oh man, Big Green. He's like, we needed a different movie, so I just
Yeah.
said it was soccer. And in his defense, I don't think he really remembered it because
I
good
definitely
Lord.
didn't remember it because I
No.
had seen that movie too. I was right there with Louise. I was like, "Yeah, Big Green, that'll be fun," and it was bad.
I think it's cute.
The Good
that
Dinosaur,
Luis
though,
likes
I
The
have
Good
no
Dinosaur,
defense
though.
for.
No,
That
I think
movie's
it's cute
also
that he
hot
likes that
garbage.
movie.
You know what's
Whatever.
really cute was that I was reading that comment in front of Adeline, and
Mhm.
Adeline was like, "Good dinosaur, oh me love good dinosaur." So I don't know.
She
we
loves
have a,
anything.
We have a good dinosaur family over here, I guess.
Not me, excluded.
It's just
But,
it's the pit of the Pixar movies.
It's definitely different. But then Jeremy went on to say like some really cool stuff that we, well, not we as in me and Michelle and or Louise, but Andre actually inadvertently helped Jeremy's wife.
Oh.
She's a CNA at an assisted living facility, and that she's been watching her residents really struggle in isolation. Just because of like coronavirus and
Yeah.
everything
Right.
that's going on right now, and that she wanted to start a blog for caregivers during the pandemic, but that she didn't really want to do storytelling, but she's like, she didn't want to write, but she's a really good storyteller. So Andre had said something about suggesting Anchor in an ad,
Oh, that's right.
and it gave him and his wife an idea to do a podcast.
Yeah.
So they are starting a
Oh.
new podcast.
Oh.
It's called the Caregiver Chronicles.
Oh, I love that.
And they're at Caregiver Chronicles 2 on
Caregiver
Instagram. So
Chronicles
you guys
2.
should go take a look or listen.
That's dope.
That's so dope.
So they just wanted to say thank you for that, and we want to say thank you for your awesome Your awesome feedback.
Yo, number one, we love honesty, like hands down, because we're
when
very honest on this podcast.
Yes,
if
we
you
are.
haven't
When I read
learned
these
this by
comments, I
now,
was dying. I was like, okay, called out.
those are the kind of people we want to meet in our lives. We're like, ha,
For sure.
love them.
Yes, absolutely. So go check
Thanks
out
for
their
the shout out,
podcast,
guys.
Caregiver Chronicles. That's awesome. That's so cool that you guys started a podcast because
Hey,
you
that's
didn't
one
want
of
to
the
write.
best things
Like,
we did.
yeah,
I feel like that's Andre's life.
can you imagine if we were writing Disney reviews every week?
No.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
It wouldn't. It would have ended like after 15 episodes tops.
The point was for us
I'm
to
tired.
socialize, get together, talk about things we like, and maybe people like it too. I don't know. Do y'all like it? They may just put up with us.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so
Love it.
yeah, thank you guys for writing in. You can write into us at the Walt Vault Pod on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and you can email us at contact@thewaltvaultpod.com and let us know what your opinions
We
are.
like emails.
We like all of that stuff.
So I'd like to get this conversation going.
Yes, we're gonna get into spoilers now.
Spoilers.
If you haven't
So,
seen Mulan.
Luis, I need you to be in on this part of the conversation because,
He's so
You're-
checked out.
Just so you know, you're talking to him and he can't hear you.
Yeah, he can't hear you at all.
well, we'll make him join in. Maybe he'll be into what I'm talking about and he'll join in on the conversation.
I just
so
tapped Luis's arm. He
so
took off his
Luis, you're going to
headphones.
be on this part of the conversation because you're going to know what we're talking about more than me, actually. So
It's
no,
about the fighting.
It's
I'm
not.
assuming.
It's not really spoilers. So before we watched Mulan, like literally the day before, we had a group text going about Kunlun and
Oh,
all these
brother.
different camartage and a lot of things that I was very confused about.
So let's pause. Kunlun is from
Iron Fist.
the
Iron
Fist,
Fist.
and
Camartage
Camartage
is
from Doctor Strange.
These are the places
And there
that
was one
these-
other. Well, you were talking about
These are the places that these heroes have
What
gone
was Green
to
Arrow?
train.
You're talking
with their ninja
about the
skills.
DC.
Yeah, the League of
Nanda
Shadows
Parbat.
also hang out
Ra's
in
al Ghul.
Nanda Parbat.
Nanda Parbat.
Yes,
There you
And
go.
Ra's al
Ra's al
Ghul.
Ghul is there.
Okay, so we were talking about this very superhero typography, okay? Like, this is where these people are coming from, and we're really confused about geography because I failed it.
Hold on. Who's we're very confused about?
Me,
geography?
Michelle, is very confused. Me, Michelle.
Yeah.
I
I-
wasn't gonna say none.
I'll raise my hand. So I just thought it was ironic that we were talking about this right the day before we go into Mulan, which is, of course,
in China.
in China.
Mhm.
But they really, and this is a spoiler, they took her on in a way of her using her chi as why she
Okay,
has,
why did you bring Luis into this part of the conversation?
well, that was only part of the conversation he was in. Bye, Luis.
But
your
he
headphones
didn't
on.
say anything.
The
What
real-
did you-
You know what I was wanting
Well,
to
the
say.
interesting part about the conversation we were having before this movie was that we were talking about how, like, it seems like everybody who comes out of this area, like Michelle was saying, has, like, some kind of, like,
Chi,
spiritual,
superpower.
Ninja
like,
abilities.
ninja, but, like, in tune with themselves in a different way. And we were talking about, like, Tibetans and people in Nepal and all these different things. And so, I mean, Tibet is in China, like, technically. So it's interesting
Yeah.
to see, like, her being in China and then harnessing something that's 100% supernatural, I would say.
Right.
Because they took chi to a whole nother level. Because chi is
Yeah,
a
they
real thing,
did.
but, like, this is like, woo!
I mean, yeah. So that's like the main difference of this.
Definitely
movie,
the main
right?
difference, and that was what I was trying to get on.
Mhm.
They really went superhero on Mulan.
Even though when you hear the director talk about it, she's like, she's not a superhero.
She's not a superhero. She's a normal, regular person.
then
I'm
they
from New
tried-
Zealand. My
they
name is
tried
Nikki
to
Caro.
take on, but they made it almost more of a fantasy world to me, saying
Agreed.
that people could harness chi in this way, but it was okay for the men and not really okay for the ladies.
Right.
And then she did it where I'm like, okay, this seems like a magical entity that you're controlling, aka like in Doctor Strange or
Yeah.
Iron Fist or XYZ.
I wrote in my notes,
You know what I
Chi
mean?
is the Force.
No, for sure.
They say it flows through everything. It brings us everything in balance.
It's
and
like you're a
certain
Jedi or you're
people
not.
Can use it in extracurricular ways.
So that's why I'm saying, like, they definitely were like, we're going to take a twist on this. Because, I mean, Mulan from the animated version is absolutely
She's a regular lady.
Yeah, she's just a regular girl who decides to go and she learns how to train, and then she ends up being like pretty BA.
But if you think
know, but
about
she kind
it,
of trains her way to that.
they moved the magical element from a tertiary source to her
Right.
because
'Cause
there
they
was a
didn't
lot
do
of
that,
magic
yeah.
in
In Mulan,
Mulan.
that's
It was
right.
just
Mushu.
and it was all like ancestral.
Yeah.
And I
and
guess the
now, yeah.
And Cricky.
And so now they took it and they put it in her so
Right.
that she didn't really need as much ancestor help as much as it was.
Because they didn't really want to go that route with talking creatures, and
Well, they definitely went a route
Yes.
but I didn't necessarily
that
like.
I didn't love.
Yeah.
So let's start through the plot a little bit.
But this
Oh.
was the main differences. Number one, we already knew that this movie wasn't going to have songs. So going into it, this was an action movie. And I was wondering from the beginning, like, how are they going to make an action representation? Well, that's what I think they did. They were like, we're going to do this chi thing and be able to make it into this action movie, which is
Right.
a good idea.
I mean,
I
it's
like
already
the base of
it's
it.
already a war movie, you know. So
Yeah.
there's action built in. They
But
didn't necessarily
that's
have
kind
to
of how
harness
they
the chi, but
make her even cooler.
right.
You know what I mean?
yes, Yeah.
Well, because that's, I mean, and again, I'm not trying to beat a dead Mushu, but what made
Stop
her
beating me.
what made her cool in the beginning was that she had Mushu's help and Cricky's help.
Right. Yeah.
Like the things that got her out of those scrapes is now her chi.
It's her friends.
You
and,
know?
yeah. Now
So
it's,
it
magic.
allows her to kind of have that extra like umph, because if not, then she really wouldn't have gotten to where she was if she didn't have this extra like super power.
it's a power, straight up.
It's a power. Like I don't know how else to say it.
Like they start off the movie, she's a little girl.
Yeah, she was straight up boss as a kid.
and they're describing her abilities, and she's twirling a sword real fast and stuff. It's pretty cool. And then she has this fun little scene that really reminded me of the beginning of Hercules. When he's a
Hercules,
kid.
yes.
And so she's just ripping and roaring and tearing stuff up completely on accident, right? Just
In
being
this
just
village.
being a clumsy little kid in her village, and the chicken is messing stuff up, and eventually she flies up to the roof and then falls all the way down. She breaks a statue and she flips and catches herself. It's all cool looking stuff, but this is the most like silly Disney scene
Yes.
in the entire movie, I think, you know. And what happens? Oh yeah, so she breaks all this stuff, and her parents are embarrassed or whatever. And her dad, he comes up to her and he's like, "Hey, I know what you're going through. I see the chi in you, and I've had chi before myself. And but you're like a girl, so like if you could just like tone it down just a
and
little
you would
bit."
tell he doesn't want to tell her that.
Right,
But
it's-
his
Yes.
wife is very much like
Yes.
she needs to learn her place in the family.
Mhm.
Bring
very-
honor to us,
Right,
which
it's-
is a recurring theme.
It's like dishonorable for women to use their chi in a magical way or whatever.
well, and
right?
it's interesting because
In a warrior
immediately- No, I think it's to use chi in any
In
way.
general.
at all.
Because they said it very clearly, like your purpose is to be a good wife.
Mhm.
Like that
Mhm.
is your purpose in life. And so for men, it is to be, you know, the face of your family, to go out and be a warrior, if
Warrior.
you need to be.
Mhm.
So the fact that she has chi, I think, is like on another level, because apparently it's so rare. But then the fact that she's obviously wielding it or using it, he said something, the dad says something like, they're going to call you a witch. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, this is going to be like
Right.
she understands science, so she's a witch type of thing. And they actually meant witch.
Right.
Like,
Yup.
oh, we're
they
going
meant
that way.
they
She got
meant witch.
magical powers.
Yeah.
Okay, lift it up with his mind powers. I saw it.
Shook me like a dog.
Also, the mom, by the way, is the lady from Freaky
Freaky
Friday,
Friday.
who's like, "Mom, no, stop
No,
switching
fortune
white people's bodies.
cookies."
Gotta stop it."
So
That was-
funny.
We were laughing.
She looked much older, but it was definitely still
Well,
her.
Oh,
yeah, I mean,
100%.
Freaky Friday was like 20 years
I was
ago.
going to say, it was a good
Yeah.
But can we pause here just because this is the first perfect example of what they did cinematography wise. I
Mhm.
don't know how much of the set was real,
I
but
think
they
a lot of it.
created like an absolutely stunning townscape
Right.
in this circular, it's like a cylindrical, very tall, I would say, how many stories do you think? Like,
Probably like 6 to 8
yeah.
yeah, like
stories.
tall. I was
right?
going to say 10, but maybe probably smaller.
Yeah.
And it has the houses, the shops, all of the agriculture, like
I mean, there's
selling.
fields
Basically, it's the
outside of the
village.
village.
Yeah.
But the village is all enclosed in this one structure, basically.
And it's just so cool.
like a gigantic apartment building, but there's
but it has all the
kinds of
shops
stuff.
and stuff in
Mhm.
there. So it was just a really fantastic playground for her in that scene that Andre was talking about. But then it also kind of zoned in on the fact that everybody could see everything that you were doing, and
Yeah.
so it was like Judgment City on her.
Right. Everybody knows
immediately.
who everybody is.
And like Mulan is obviously being dishonorable,
Right, yeah.
And everybody,
And she
knows it.
obviously doesn't care either. She's like, what ifs?
And then there's like the matchmaker lady on the top floor. She's top shelf up there,
Yeah.
and eventually we're gonna have to go see her.
She's way more intense than the.
Dude, the matchmaker
Animated
lady that they did in
matchmaker.
this live action looks exactly like the matchmaker lady from the animated version. Because we went back and started watching it, and I was like, yep, that's her.
Ugh.
So at one point in this, the statue that Mulan breaks as a kid is a statue of a phoenix. So her father lets her know that like the phoenix is this beautiful thing, and yeah, you're just like a phoenix, and the phoenix will rise or whatever. But also tamp down that chi and whatnot. And
So,
the
like you might rise, but you need to make sure you don't rise.
Don't rise from the ashes.
Yes. So the phoenix makes its appearance known throughout this movie several times.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a little bit. I just
And
wanted
do
to
you
mention it.
agree? Because I
I don't like
immediately
it.
felt like the Phoenix was supposed to be Mushu. Like
Yeah.
not so much to be him, but like that
It was
like the
supposed to be her
representation.
guardian.
Like a spiritual protector.
Yes.
Yes, sure. But they just show it so.
Oh, God,
many
it
Because
was
times.
they're saying it's the guardian of their temple that they have.
Yeah.
And it's like on his armor and stuff too. So
On
yeah,
his
it's supposed
crest.
to be like Mushu.
I would have loved to have seen it like twice, maybe 3 times.
Right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we saw it like
only
10
maybe
times.
only the once in the mountain, and even that was too much for me.
There was a lot. There's a lot of Phoenix throughout this movie.
It's not Harry Potter.
It's a very heavy-handed metaphor that I think they could have backed almost all the way off of and still gotten
they
a
could
good
have just
effect.
talked about it. I didn't need to see it.
I mean, seeing it would have been cool like once. Like
Yeah.
she
I still thought it was weird the
when
first
she's
time I
at
saw it, though.
her wit's end or whatever, she's on the ground, she's dying, and then she sees a phoenix in the sky, and then she gets up.
I'm gonna be
whatever.
really
But it-
embarrassing and say this. You ready? It's like seeing a legendary Pokemon in the sky that one time.
Yeah.
And it's like you didn't know if it was really real.
Well, they could have
but
made
there
it look
was.
different too. It didn't look.
Oh,
very
it looked
good.
exactly like Fox from Harry Potter.
Right. I mean, phoenixes look like phoenixes. If you put a unicorn in one movie, it looks like a unicorn in another movie. But
you could make the unicorn look different.
But at the
though.
same time, you definitely could do a different design for a magical bird. They could have made it bigger. They could have made it smaller. They could have added more feathers or less feathers. It looks
Yeah.
exactly the same.
It looked exactly the same.
as Fox the Phoenix.
It was a little weird.
Anyway.
So we flash now to she's not a little girl anymore. She's
About to get match made.
about to get match made,
She's
and
not happy
this is
about
what you
it.
give me to work with. But no song. So she.
But the music was gorgeous because they used it in
I
a
know.
very beautiful
so
way.
this is what Emily and I were talking about, how the score is absolutely beautiful. So every song from the animated movie they incorporate into the score in the background, but they do it in a very elegant way that's like so beautiful
and
so at that-
authentic. I feel like
just
very,
so good,
very time period authentic, but also like culturally.
but not
Yeah.
too. And I mean, the vibe of this movie is definitely different than the animated, so it's not too like peppy and like but you can just like slightly hear it in the background where it was like
Yeah,
nice.
they bring it in at a really good pace. Like it's not fully the 98 Mulan soundtrack, right? It's not.
No.
It's
No,
not,
it's just
not
like
that,
bits
it's not
and
that
pieces
score
of
at
the
all.
song.
But every major theme has its place within the score of this
Right.
of this new movie, and they're all extremely well placed. And I felt it every time I heard.
yeah, the music was
heard
some of
familiar notes.
the best parts of it for sure.
This music was done by Mr. Harry Gregson Williams, who you know from The Martian, The Chronicles of Narnia, and Shrek.
the best movie.
He composed
ever.
Shrek, which is cool.
Shrek is dope.
I don't know why it's one of my favorite movies. Like,
Shrek
it's
is
so
the bee's
bad.
knees, okay?
Somebody. Okay.
Told me.
Nobody said anything about being an all-star. Okay.
Whatever, we like it. So she is going to the matchmaker now. So they
Which
glam,
I think is just as funny as the opening scene,
It
or
is.
Yeah.
just as
This is a good-
they
entertaining.
this is a good
glam
scene.
her up completely, which I love. All of the costuming in this is like hands down absolutely gorgeous. They'll
Mhm.
probably win an award for costuming. Just beautiful. The
possibly.
vibrancy of the colors, their color choices, the fabrics you could tell were silks and everything. Just the authenticity of everything was absolutely gorgeous. So they go into this matchmaker though, and she has to pour the tea like just how she does in the animated one, right? A woman must be graceful and poised, and she has to pour the tea. But instead of Cricky like attacking this, I'm way nastier in this one. I did not like it.
Well, and we have to back up just for 1 second. We don't have to go anywhere with it, but instead of her having like little brother as a dog, she has a little sister.
Yes.
Yeah, and the little sister is really looks up to Mulan.
Right.
But the little sister is seen as the preferred child in
She's
their family.
much more of like the girly girl
Yes,
who's
because
ready to get married. And
yeah,
do
she's
all
doing
the-
what she's
the life
supposed to be
stuff.
doing. But we know that girl has a spider. She has arachnophobia. Like she's
afeared.
She is feared. So we get into this matchmaking sitch, and mom and sister, pretty much all the females in their family, are in this room with matchmaker and Mulan.
And okay, so
I was tripped out too.
I was mad about it. This is nasty.
so yeah, they're sitting there looking at the tea, and you know they're supposed to be very poised and still and non-moving and all graceful. All these things are supposed to be, and a spider just crawls down from its web right in front of the sister's face.
Absolutely
And Mulan, as a good big sister does, she takes the spider and puts the teapot on top of it. Right? She puts the teapot on top of it. The matchmaker's like, "Yo, are you not paying attention, or what's going on? Do you want to get married or what?"
In the middle of the table.
The teapot goes in the middle, and she's like, "Nah."
She even says, "I think the teapot should stay where it is," and the matchmaker is like, "What is wrong with you?"
I would have been like, I don't know. I guess you could have been like, "In order to keep the peace of the room, I have moved the pot
Right,
on top
yeah.
of the spider."
I
because
probably
my
just would have
sister-
straight up been like, "There's a spider under this teapot."
Yeah,
Like,
I probably
if
would
you
have just
move
been,
it, you're gonna
been
scream.
truthful. But she's not. So teapot gets moved back. The spider attacks, and everything goes crazy immediately. I think all of the tea, the entire tea set gets pushed up into the air because everybody's acting crazy, and then Mulan has to use her chi. She cheese up, and she catches every single.
cheese up.
She catches every single piece of the tea set on her feet and fingers and hands and her
It's
nose
beautiful.
or whatever. It's really cool. And then does she sneeze? Is that what happens?
No.
No, the lady looks at her like, "What?"
Oh, right. And then Mulan sends it all crashing down and embarrasses her entire family and gets kicked out of the matchmaking, and it's just not a good look.
And shame, dishonor on your cow,
Yeah, it's-
dishonor on everything.
They didn't actually say
Dishonor
dishonor on your cow.
on your
We
cow.
kept saying that, dishonor on your cow.
But we did keep saying that.
And then literally at the same moment, the cavalry comes in.
Right. Yeah. So before we get to that, the other big change in this movie is that
There's no Huns.
the Huns are replaced by the Rurans, and what was the Huns bad guy? What's his name?
Shere Khan?
No,
The
that's the
Huns
tiger.
bad guy?
Yeah, from the animated.
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay, well, the
Hun,
main
honey.
bad guy, he's replaced by
honey.
by Mr. Bori Khan, who was this member of the Rorans who was betrayed, and his father was killed by the Emperor, and he's out seeking revenge. And he is teamed up with a witch named Zhang Yang.
Shane Yu.
Shan
Shan
Yu, yes.
Shan Yu.
Shan Yu. So yeah, Shan Yu is now basically two people. He's the bird and the
Yeah,
and the guy.
So he just doesn't have his pet bird anymore. His pet bird is a witch who turns into a bird.
Her name is Zhang Yang, and she is harnessing her chi on an extraordinary level, and she is bird claws, and she's got feather clothes, and she turns into birds, and
She's cool.
She can absorb people, and
She is on
Shapeshift.
another level. She is sick.
she's all kinds of crazy and new, and they're both on a mission to destroy the Emperor, take down the Imperial City, and
Basically just
rule
take
China.
over, yeah.
Take over. So the Emperor hears of this, and he's like, all right, well, we got to draft him up. Let's go. Round up all the boys, one man from every household in China. And
Much like the same.
Michelle was like, "This sounds like a draft." Yep.
Yep, that's what
I was
it
like,
is.
"Oh, they drafted him."
Yeah, it's drafting time. So yeah, as Mulan embarrasses her family at the matchmaking ceremony,
She walks outside to embarrass them further.
Yes. The army walks in. They're like, "Hey, we need a homie from every family." And Mulan's dad, who's like, "Okay, I got two
His legs
grown
messed
women,
up.
and my leg is jacked all the way
From
up.
the last war.
Yes, exactly. It hurts, man. Watch me try to walk without this cane. I'm not gonna get very far. And they hand up over the draft papers or whatever, right? And the dad, he's like, okay, I'll go. And the guy is like, all right, cool, we'll take you.
No, they ask him if he has anybody else, and he says, I'm blessed with 2 beautiful daughters. And they're like, all right,
cool. Well, we were mandated to get one man, even if you're not going to make 2 steps onto the battle. I don't understand why they're just like, okay, old dude, you can stay here. You know?
And the next scene,
he's
the
not
best
a
part.
viable warrior anymore.
Well, and because of that, the next scene, the mom is like to the daughters, you need to say goodbye to your dad. He's not coming back.
No,
like,
literally, they're in the house, and she's like, this time he will not return. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Because
Bro.
even the wife knows, like, he dead.
Yeah, he's going off to die. So Mulan, who's very close with her father, you know, she starts watching him. He's trying to practice with the sword. He's doing pretty good, but then he's like, my leg. And and she's like, well, you don't have to go. And he's like, I have to go. I have to fight for my family. It's what an honorable person does. And she's like, oh, okay, I want to be an honorable person. That'd be cool. And so she decides to take all her father's stuff and transform into
Ping.
Hua Jun. Right?
Just way less
Yeah.
cool than in the animated where she got her whole...
Yeah, it's not an 80s montage. Unfortunately.
She
that
just
part's
basically
so
takes
good.
all his stuff and dips out.
Takes the sword, takes the armor, takes the horse, and pieces out. And Dad, once he realizes that she's gone, is like, well, if I try to stop her or try to warn the army that she's coming, then they'll just kill her. So I guess she's going to do what she's got to do. But I have faith in her because she's strong, right?
And Chieful.
And full of chi. She got that chi.
Got that
baby.
chi.
So this is where the Phoenix starts showing up. Mulan is making her trek to the Imperial City, which is much farther than I thought it was.
She's in a very remote village.
Yeah.
And she remotely gets herself lost.
Right. So she gets lost pretty bad. She runs out of food. The horse is starving. She's got to feed it the last apple. And it looks like she's on her last legs. Like she's not going to survive the night. She's not going to even make it to war in the first place. And then
I was like, this is too soon.
she can't ride a horse across the country. Okay. And so the Phoenix flies overhead, right? And this is to represent her and her magical or chi, and it gives her energy, and she wakes up and is able to continue on her way. And
Which I thought just could have not happened, that whole scene.
right, like she
Like,
didn't
I could have
need
used
to
that,
be-
like, 5 minutes in more action.
I didn't need it.
I
she
could've
didn't
need
need to
more
be
kung fu.
in trouble right at this early. You know, she hadn't even met anybody yet. So after this, she gets to the camp and she starts meeting the homies. You remember the homies from the animated version? There's the big one, there's this little one, there's the skinny one.
They all have different names in this, but
Yes, they all have different names, but they're all there in their essence. And the new addition, who I think is the coolest one, is a guy named Cricket. So the Cricket has been replaced with a dude, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm here to fight, and I'm pretty good at stuff, but
I'm a cricket.
I'm a cricket. My
he
mom
says
says I'm lucky."
Yeah, I was born under some kind of moon.
An
That's
auspicious moon.
why they call me a cricket, and I'm
Auspicious
lucky. I'm
moon.
lucky.
Yeah. So all the guys are you know, they're pretty fun in their own ways.
That was the best part. Since Luis can't hear me right now, earlier he asked me like, "Oh, is so and so in the? Oh, is Mushu in the movie? No, Mushu's not in the movie. Is there a cricket?" And I said, "Yes."
Yes.
He's
There
like,
is a
"Oh, there's a cricket?
He's
Yes.
lucky.
Yeah. He's a lucky cricket."
So she gets there. She starts meeting these dudes, and she immediately gets into a tizzy with one of them. Right? They start sparring and fighting, and Commander Tung comes up, played by Donnie Yen,
Yeah.
and so the character of Hottie with a Body, what's his name? I'll make a man out of you,
Ling Khan Shang.
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 Ling Khan Chang. It's
I
Shang.
thought we were talking about the other guy. That
Right, right.
No,
But the-
Shang was the OG Disney hottie.
So in this, the character of Shang has been split into basically two characters. There's Commander Tung, who's the older statesman. He knew Mulan's father. He's the commander. And then there's Hong Hui, who is like the gung-ho kind of de facto
Like the boy
leader
next
of the
door.
boys. He's like the captain of the football team or whatever. And he's the one who has this very interesting romantic kind of tension
Oh,
with
his name isn't Ling? What? Or Ling? Ling?
No.
No.
It's Hong
Hui.
Lee.
Oh.
Hong Hui.
I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but that's how
Hong
it's,
Lee.
how it's spelled.
Oh,
Hong Hui.
Hui. Yes.
Yes, Hong Hui.
Hong Hui, yeah. And I mean, and I'll say it just like how we said in the animated, and maybe we'll talk about it more on Crack in the Vault, but just like Shang had a thing for Mulan,
I had some.
this dude does too.
We had lots of commentary while we were watching this
Yeah.
about.
We will go into this more deeper on the Crack.
I mean, we can go into it a little bit now because
It's the same.
it's like
It's not the same.
right.
It was kind of more.
In the animated version, you see Mulan Ping, and she's like kind of making eyes at Shang, right? Because he's the hottie commander, okay? And then the way he talks to her, who he thinks is a him, is like, you know, very commanding, but also kind of gentle in certain ways or whatever.
Because he's a little man.
Well, yes.
But I don't get like I don't from the animated. I never thought like
You never thought
he's
that?
into
that
her.
Shang is
Oh.
that
No.
Shang is super into Ping.
Yeah,
Ping, the dude.
yeah. I never
Right.
got that Shang was
Um,
really into Pink.
Right.
There's just one moment where he like smacks her, or she like smacks him in the face, like when
Mhm.
they're fighting, and he's like,
I thought that was more like you got it now. Okay,
Right.
let's go.
Yeah.
no, there was a cut. Go
I mean,
back and watch it.
Sure.
Go
You
back.
you can make an interpretation that Shang was having, you know, vicarious thoughts or whatever.
He
right?
definitely was.
Right. But in
there is-
Mulan 2020,
Oh, it's apparent.
so
Hui.
the looks that
Hong
Hong Hui
Hui.
is given to Hua Jun, aka Mulan,
Hua Ju.
who he assumes is a man, is, I mean, homie's trying to get it. You know what I'm saying?
For
He is
real.
like,
He like talks to her in private.
man, I wish
like,
there wasn't 45 other dudes in these barracks. You know what I'm saying?
He's like,
Because
"I'll
if it was just
protect
you and me,
you."
bro.
And it's totally cool. It's just so full of tension because we're omniscient and we know what we know.
Right.
Like,
Yes,
are you gonna tell him? Are you gonna? I almost thought they were gonna break the script there and have her be like, I'm a girl.
right.
You know,
Thought
because
Yeah,
that's
because
what
she was
so,
hecka into him
It was
too.
so like visceral.
It was palpable.
Like when they
Yes.
were talking about getting matched, and Hong Hui's like, "Have you been matched yet?" And she's like, no."
Ugh.
And he's like, "Oh, you know, I'm just worried that whoever I'm matched to won't like me." And she's like, "They will." I mean, you know, you can never tell with girls. I was like, what is going on? They're like in the same bed, nobody's around. Like it was very high tensions, and I think that's where they were trying to go with this a little bit more.
There's this funny bit that they do where Mulan gets there and they're like, all right, boys, it's time for showers. So everybody get naked. But also we need someone to do guard duty. And Mulan's like, I'll take that. I don't want to be naked around all these fools. And so for, I guess, a few weeks, Mulan just does
showers.
guard duty at night and does not take a shower. So at a certain point, all the dudes are like, bro, you gotta get in the tub because
You
you
stank.
stank nasty, bro. I can smell all your fungus, all
You know,
among us.
Andre was like, I can smell her pheromones.
Yeah, it's becoming pungent in there, you know.
Ew,
So-
I don't like that word.
so at one
It's
point,
true. I'm sure she was pungent.
so at one point, Mulan, who she finally decides to go and get in the bath in the lake, the river, in the middle of the night when no one else is around.
Who
She
shows
goes
up?
in there, and who's there
Hong
right
Hui.
behind her? He's Hong Hui. He's like, oh, so you're naked? All right, cool. Let me get naked and hop on in there with you.
And it's weird because in the animated one, it's like all of them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
Right.
not that weird, but it's like literally just him, which is like the love interest, and you're like, what?
So,
Yeah.
so he's there, and he's like, oh, Hua Jun, what's up, dude? I just want to let you know, I respect you so much, and we should be best friends. And Mulan's like,
She's like, I'm not your friend. Get out of here. I'm naked. And he's like, you always have your back turned on me. And she's like, if I turn around, you're gonna see these. He's like,
stop it.
get out of
This
here.
is the clean version.
Sorry. Sorry.
Wow.
But that's basically what was happening.
Right. Oh, I
I feel like you
I-
gotta bleep this whole section.
no, I failed to
I
mention.
know.
I failed to mention that this is actually the first live action remake
PG-13.
that is PG-13.
Oh, is it
All-
PG-13?
Yes,
Yeah.
all the ones previous to this have been PG. Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Jungle Book. All of them have been the lower rating.
What gives it the 13?
I think
can
it says
tell you. I believe
some
it's
kind of nudity.
I believe it's mostly due to the action, but let's see here.
I didn't feel like the action was more.
Not
Maybe
that.
because it's just war. War has like a.
No, I think
bigger
it says
intention.
because of.
It says rated PG-13 for sequences of violence. several innuendos that will go over kids' heads, like a towel dropping off a soldier in the barracks. Several
Yeah.
battle sequences with swords and arrows.
Like mild.
Dead bodies seen on the battlefield. No vulgar profanity. And
Just like mild things.
yeah. So it's mostly violence, and then the mild thing is the towel dropping or whatever.
That's true. She did see you know
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
She
yeah.
saw naked people.
Junk.
That also happens in the animated one too, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
she like covers her eyes.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm king of the rock.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I want to watch it.
Oh, he's
So that being said, yeah, we're going into some PG-13 territory without
So we'll,
PG-13
we'll
language.
move on from this. Let's go into their training.
Yeah, so they all begin training, right? And Hua Jun, he's doing pretty good out there, you know.
They have to abide by the three
principles.
The three,
Creed.
what do they call them?
Brave.
It's loyal, brave,
it's loyal,
and
brave,
true.
and true.
But it's like the
brave,
three-
and true.
They call it something specific, and I can't remember. But loyal, brave, and true. And she's like, yeah, I'm loyal. I'm brave. Ooh, that true part, though, I don't know about that, right? So
Yeah.
that kind of sticks with her hard throughout all of her training.
Yes.
Which I do like that. It's like a really good. Well, I feel like it carries her throughout the whole movie because
Yeah.
she is hiding like a really big piece of who she is. But I like how they changed up these sequences.
Yes.
So
It's basically the "I'll make a man out of you" montage,
yeah,
but with
much more realistic.
yes, much more realistic. The one of the main things that they do to get strength out of these whippersnapper boys is they each carry a pail of water in each of their hands, and they hold it all the way stretched, their arms
Vertical.
stretched out. Yeah.
I mean, horizontal.
horizontal with the ground, right? And so they have to go up what,
Like a
600
Spartan
feet
race
of
going
stairs or
on.
whatever, and you know,
A mountain.
yeah, a mountain. They have to climb a mountain with these buckets of water, and
They never
none of them
make
can
it.
do it. You know, this is incredibly hard. It's,
They
it's
even
nuts.
like banish one guy for pouring out some of the water from his
So
bucket.
one guy cheats. He's like, I'm
He's
gonna
not
just
being true.
slosh this out and slosh this out. It'll be easier. I can make it up the mountain. Somebody sees him. They catch him. Commander Donnie Yen is like, bro, you gotta get all the way up out of here. You're
Yeah.
done. It's over. Dishonesty, disloyal, dishonor on
And
you,
most of
dishonor
these
on your
dudes
cow.
would rather die. They're like, no,
Right.
shame.
That's the thing, is that they said that the punishment for most of the betrayals
Desertion and whatever.
for all of this stuff is like death, but dishonesty, the punishment is expulsion. You're just out. You're gone.
And shame on
You're
your whole
banished.
family.
Yeah, shamed, and then your dad is just gonna be so mad.
Ooh, your
You
daddy's
know?
gonna be.
Well, it's just so important in the Chinese and Asian cultures, you know, because
Yeah.
they're so community centric. And for
family
us, we're over
centered,
here
yeah.
like, oh, my daddy can be mad. It's cool.
Right.
Bye.
It's cool.
So Mulan, she's in there. She's training with the boys. She's doing okay, and then they start getting to sparring, and at one point she's fighting Hong Hui. You know, they're having crazy tension
Jeez.
with one another.
My
and,
eyeballs were all the way peeled.
and Mulan starts to bring her chi out to in order to fight him.
Yeah, because she's like, you ain't gonna beat me.
Right. So they're going at it pretty hard, and she ends up whooping him down, and
Doing the spear kick.
yes, with the classic spear kick, her signature move. It's like when Black Widow, you know, kills somebody with her thighs. It's,
Yeah.
it's the same kind of thing. But Commander Donnie Yen, Commander Tung, he sees this happen, and she thinks she's in trouble for using her chi because all her life it's been, you know, basically banned.
Suppressed.
It's illegal. She's had to suppress it. So she's like, oh no, here we go. Dishonesty, disloyalty. My dad's gonna kill me. And Commander Tung is like, bro, that was sick. You gotta
We
use that
need
chi
that.
way, way more. And also, how about you come to my village after this is all over and you meet my daughter? You know what I'm saying?
That was the
Let's
hardest part
make a
because
match.
she was gonna go in there and tell him like I'm Mulan, and then once she heard that the chi was okay, she was like, "What?" And then once he was like, "And you're gonna marry my daughter," she was like, "Well, I have no choice but to be like, okay, yes, sir."
Right.
Like, can
Sir,
you imagine?
yes, sir.
Can you imagine?
So
no,
after
she
this
just got
point-
herself into such deep
Too
waters.
Right.
far, too far.
Uh-oh, can't keep this up. Didn't think all of this through. What if I dress up like a boy and somebody wants me to marry their daughter? Yeah, she didn't get that far. Anyway, so the battle, the war is beginning, right? Now Mulan's one of the boys, so she kind of gives them a speech saying that she's with them, she's there to protect them, they're there to protect each other, none of them are going to die, we're all going to make it, we got this. She gives a very rousing Captain America style speech. They go into battle, and this is where the movie is cool. I like this entire battle scene.
Me too. Andre and I.
Hold on, which one is this? The one on the field?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the
So
one on the
basically,
field.
what happens is what are the bad guys
the
called?
Rurins.
The Rorans.
Mhm.
Andre and I were comparing them to the Dothraki in this scene. If you've
Yeah.
ever seen Game of Thrones,
They're like horse
because these
lords.
warlords are coming in on these horses hot. They're literally like standing on their horses at some points where it's like, oh no,
They're all
I would
doing-
be running the other way.
They're all doing
Like,
crazy
woo.
Legolas moves
Yeah,
too.
they were
got
very
they got bows and
Lord
arrows
of the
on their back,
Ringsy,
and
yeah.
they're flipping behind over the sides of the horses and shooting arrows. It's crazy. So all the bad
Yeah.
guys are
Are
apparently
trained by that witch.
they're all using chi as well.
But they were trained by her too, because he
Yes.
says that at the beginning.
Yes, to help them fight. So Mulan's battalion that she's in, she's not with any of her regular bros. I
No,
think she
she's
gets
just like
separated from
she's
all
the
of them.
left flank.
So she's with this group of riders. Almost her entire team gets taken down, and a couple people desert. Because these ruins are so crazy and good.
Good with arrows.
But Mulan, she takes it a step further. She follows them to try and take them out. And on her way there, she interacts with Zhang Yang, the witch lady. Okay,
She's so cool.
and the witch lady, she recognizes her almost immediately. She's like, "You're not who you say you are. You're not a dude. I can feel
Yeah.
it." And your deceit weakens you because you're hiding who you are. You're not using the full
weakening
capability
your
of your chi.
chi.
She's literally like teaching her something. With this battle, she throws a ninja star at her chest, hits Mulan, and she basically dies. Like she loses consciousness. She falls to the ground. And then here comes old good boy Phoenix again. He rises. We get to see.
This would have been the good first and only spot.
only
Well,
image
yeah,
of the
they
she
Phoenix.
like quote unquote died.
And it was kind of like, like faded, like how you saw the Phoenix. I think that would be
And this is-
like the only spot they needed it. And now she's like, this is who I am.
Right.
She's reawakened
This is her
or whatever.
rebirth moment. This is really
Yeah,
cool.
they only needed it here. I agree.
Yeah, so she sees the Phoenix. She rises. She sheds her armor. She pulls down her hair.
Hold on, because isn't this the place too where like you see it shing through like the sword where it's like ching, like she moves it and she sees her face
Yes,
and then
she
you
sees
see
her
it.
reflection.
Yeah.
Like that is like the opposite of how it was in the animated because she like cut her hair and then saw herself like as Ping.
Right.
But this is like not cutting her hair, but like shedding the lie and
Mhm.
becoming Mulan.
Yeah.
That would
Mhm.
have just been quintessential.
So
Yeah.
cool.
and then we overdo it.
Yeah, they
and
just-
overdo it.
I didn't need to see that
Over-
Phoenix.
one of my
do it.
one of my main criticisms of this movie is the use of the Phoenix. It's just in there so much.
It's
and
weird.
It doesn't need to be.
It just didn't fit the whole other vibe of the movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, maybe they were like, people are going to be mad if we don't put any Mushu type of thing. No, just no.
Well, then it should have been a flying dragon.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Why wouldn't it
why
just
couldn't
been
it
a
have been a
dragon?
dragon?
I
That
don't
would have
know.
been cool.
I don't
Like
know.
like a surface
Yeah, yeah.
dragon.
What you
flying-
give me to work with? No.
I just
Um,
wish it would have been her. Like she had been like the not what's her name? What was her
Zhang
name?
Yang.
Yeah, like if she had been like the amalgamation
The
of like
thing
a
that was-
spirit
that was
and
guiding her.
yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, because at first, Emily, you were like, oh, is that her temped down chi in that person? Like, is that
Yeah.
person her chi?
Oh yeah, we were saying that because it reminded me of like an Obscurus from like Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Like part
you
of
were
the
like,
Harry
is
Potter
that
world.
her chi?
I was like,
she's
that would've
been
been-
like, yeah.
That would have been sick if it was like, oh, this like sad version of her, or
Right.
just like that's what happens when you tamper down your chi. I don't know.
Yeah, like you're like a familiar, right? Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
a good old animal buddy. But no, that
Which I guess that is what Boris Khan's was.
Boris Khan.
right in
Boris Khan.
It's
Um,
Boris Khan.
yeah, in the animated version, the bad guy, his bird is basically like a familiar, and you can see with it and stuff like that. It's all
Mhm.
kinds of
Ooh,
crazy.
Hawkeyes.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Hawkeyes, there's all kinds of crazy arrow tricks happening.
Yeah, I
in
love
this,
watching arrow
in
stuff.
this movie.
So she goes back into the battle
Yeah.
and is like, I'm about to mess it up right now, okay?
As Mulan.
as
As
Mulan.
Mulan. She's in there. She chops off her horse. She's fighting. She, like, kicks an arrow in the middle of the air and then is standing on her horse. And I'm like, all right, here we go. But at the same time, I guess nobody sees her do this, really.
Yeah, she's doing it all like fairly
or
undercover.
they're just too
secretly.
into their battle that they don't really see what's going
Right.
on.
She's doing it on the outskirts. She's fighting people. She's taking dudes out and down and stuff like that. And nobody really sees her, I guess. Eventually, we get to a point where the bad guys are attacking with flaming boulders that they are shooting out of, what are those things called? Trebuchet? Catapults, yes. They're shooting catapulted flaming boulders at all of the soldiers. And all the soldiers are under their own shields in
Basically because a bunch of birds are attacking them too.
Yes, and they're in a cool formation. And they're getting attacked
Literally
by
like Game of Thrones where they're doing that, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me at all to know that the director of this movie has probably directed a Game of Thrones episode. I'll look that up at one point. But yeah, it's good action that's being shot here.
It's very good action. Yes.
At one point, Mulan, she sees that the catapults are right below a mountain where there's a bunch of snow, so a possible avalanche could happen. She makes her way up the mountain.
But pause, because this was all of our issue right here.
Yes.
This is where I don't like the way this movie is shot. It like it's the exemplary moment of what I don't like.
I think it's the editing more than the
maybe
than the way that it's shot, because just like the timing of her
like they
being
could have added a couple more minutes
being
right there.
on
it
the
could have been
battlefield,
like 10 seconds.
right? From her being on the battlefield to getting up into the mountain, having set up all these helmets, gathering her arrows and lining up her shots and stuff like that. Like 15 minutes.
Well, and yes, I
real
was
time could have
confused
passed.
there, but I was also confused. Like, how the heck is she fighting the witch now? You were just going after those. Like that part went over my head.
It just
too.
was very like the succession was too fast to understand
the transition.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's hard to understand how much time has elapsed and how far she is away from the battle, because like you just said, she's chasing the Roaring Riders up into these mountains, and then immediately she's in the middle of the mountain, and then immediately she's back on the field.
Right.
So
And
she's
then
going
she's
in and out of a
really
mountain.
up in another mountain.
Yeah, and then immediately she's on this other mountain, which was really far away, but it kind of felt close until you saw how far it was, and then it felt weird, like you were.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just like
There was a disconnect.
she's so good with her chi that she's even faster than Quicksilver from Age of Ultron.
No.
She's just zooming around this entire battlefield.
Apparently.
She's hopping up
Well,
all
he
over
was
the place.
the slow one though,
Exactly,
so I guess.
yeah. All of them. Everybody on the battle. Cricket's faster than Quicksilver. All of them. So she manages to.
Poe? What was his name?
Poe.
She manages to distract the bad guys, have them turn their catapults around and shoot at her, and then this causes an avalanche, which crashes all of her bad guys, killing them, and then getting close to the Imperial army and
They're
almost
okay,
taking them
though.
all out.
Yeah.
But they all end up making it.
Which at this point, I feel like in the animated version, the stakes are so high.
Right.
Because they're going to fall over a cliff because of this avalanche.
Yes.
Like the pinnacle of what she did literally puts all of their lives at risk, and that's what really extra on top of it makes it more action-packed.
Right.
And here, they just kind of like peter out. I mean, yes, she goes in and saves
Hong Hui.
Hong Hui, but
But it wasn't
like he probably would have made it. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just was like, oh,
It wasn't as dangerous for them.
And then I feel like also because in the animated, she had saved all their lives from the cliff. When she got banished, they were like really more sad about it.
that's what I'm saying.
And like this one, they were like, bye.
Well, they make it real secretive about her. I don't even think most of them knew that she was the one who caused the avalanche.
No.
when everyone knew in the first one, which
Right.
made it much more like it was her fault that the avalanche happened, but then she also literally saved all of their lives.
Correct. Yeah.
In this, it's more like,
Well,
oh, you're a girl.
Caused the avalanche and it's like, oh, hey, there's a girl
yeah,
here.
so she goes over there because they're like, where's Hua?
Hua Jun.
Where's Hua Ju? And then she just comes over there and they're like, witch! They're like freaking out, right? And she's like, no, I'm Hua Mulan, and like explains herself. And they were basically like, you lied.
Peace out. Goodbye.
Like, you're deserted, and if you come back, we will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And she straight up right then is like, please just execute
I'd
me.
rather take execution. I'm telling you, my dad's gonna be so mad, dude. I'm not going back there.
And they're like, no,
Yeah,
leave.
get out of here. So she rides off into the distance and meets up with Zhang Yang once again, and they basically have a conversation.
I wanted them to team up.
Right.
Seriously,
bad.
I did not like how this
So
went.
Zhang Yang gives a little bit more of her backstory. She's like, I was just like you. They shunned me. They kicked me out, and it's been a long time since I felt noble. Like I see myself in you. You're young. You've got the chi. You're all noble, and you're ready to take down the man or whatever. And they're not gonna let you. So honestly, you should just join up with me and let's take them down together.
And she very, very faintly is like foreshadowing that she doesn't want to be like servant slave / like pet dog for Boris.
Zhang Yang, or for Boris
For Borikhan.
Borikhan.
She doesn't.
For Boris Khan.
She doesn't want to be this Russian warlord's pet, but that she wants more for herself. And
Yeah.
I wish that that's kind of where the story went, that it was like, I'm only doing your dirty work so that women who have chi can be who they want to
Right,
be.
yeah.
And it's like she was kind of trying to do that, but it never got
I
there.
really wanted Mulan to be like, no, you join me.
Yeah.
And we'll go take down.
Like, let's make up this
Boycott.
like secret plan where we were really
Right.
working together, and we're going to find all the little girls who have chi and
I
But
mean,
it was
liberate
basically
them.
just like she was like, I know my place. And then she was.
and then she just leaves.
And then she
Yeah.
leaves, but she was like, well, this whole battle was a distraction, anyways, from what's happening. She kind of helped her at the Imperial City. And so then Mulan was like, what?
right, yeah. I think it's Zhang Yang that tells her that Borikhan is basically already at the Imperial City, and they're gonna take down the Emperor. And
She's like, they're going to take over
it's,
anyway.
it's too late. Like you're done. And so Mulan takes this information, rushes back to her camp, and says like, "Hey, bros, I know you said you were about to kill me, but hear me out for 1 second. There's an attack happening in Imperial City, and we probably can't get the entire army there, but if we take a small team of elite fighters, we can protect the Emperor. So let's get in there." And they're like, "Well, but you're a girl." and
well, no, he basically says, why would we believe you when you lied to us before
Right.
about that? Which
about
is
who
fair
you
enough.
are.
But then Huang Li is like, let's listen to her.
Hey.
oh God, what did they say?
she's
What
so
were we
hot
laughing
now.
about?
I don't remember.
Oh God, she's so sexy. No, they're like, I believe Hua Mulan.
Oh, that's
I
right.
believe Hua Mulan.
It's
I
a-
believe Hua Mulan.
It's a very
Yeah, that's when I went
Spartacus
to go pee.
Spartacus moment. Yeah, where
Me and Andre were laughing.
all of the
very hard.
soldiers, they're like, "Dude, you see how hot she is now?
I believe
her. Let's do whatever she says."
I can't.
Yeah, because they're not allowed to have nothing going on with women. They said that too. So.
Right, yeah,
Death.
exactly.
Right? Whoa, chill out.
Yeah, that was one of the penalties, isn't that? But they agree with Mulan that the small strike team force is a good plan, and
And there they go.
they follow her into battle. So they head on over to the Imperial City, where
It's a trap.
the Rorans are already there. They've snuck in
And all the
sneaky-like.
guards are in one spot.
Right, because Zhang Yang, who can fly, she got to the Imperial City fast and
absorbed
And
Full
took over
bodies.
the Emperor's assistant's body.
Yeah, this is something that I kind of just glossed over before, but she absorbs a human being, takes their form, and can
And then-
completely mimic them, and then
when she's done, then they poof.
I mean, they're gone. When she takes over them, it's over. That's
yeah,
it.
they're just gone
It's
after that.
instant death.
Killing.
It's like
It's like-
Kirby
it's
when he
like,
sucks up an enemy.
I was gonna say it's like a Thanos snap because that's less nasty.
Well, I guess, but
Well,
doesn't take on the properties of the
Yeah.
of the person. Anyway, Zhang Yang, she commands the armies to go outside of the city so that the Rorans can easily sneak in, and then once Mulan and the homies arrive, it's just all out battle time,
Ninja time.
basically. Yeah, it's ninja time. There's like, Mulan,
And
go protect the Emperor.
Emily made a comment during the movie that I have to agree with. Like, I don't know why it was a thing that they had to run on the walls. Like,
So that's the
is that a
thing.
ninja thing?
Well,
Like, let's run on the walls.
Yeah, that's the thing with both the use of the chi and this being a kung fu movie. The styling of it reminds me of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and in that movie they have the ability to fly, you know, where they're like running on air, and it's just kind of like a mixture of the Asian art style plus the wire work that the special effects people could do at the time of those movies. So it's just like the style of how these ninjas move.
Yeah.
Right. So in here,
It was
I mean,
cool.
They're,
It was
they're-
just
they're
a bit
repeating
much.
it, so it looked familiar and fine to me. I was like, yeah, go around on the wall and hop over that out of the wall and then strike with the sword or whatever. But you're saying it looked a little
It's
off.
not that it looked bad.
This
It
is-
felt out of place.
This
Oh.
is my problem with it. I don't mind you running on the walls. I'm all about it because it totally reminded me of Doctor Strange,
They
right?
should
When
have
they
just
like
gone.
run.
They should have
Right.
just gone more.
But yes, if you're gonna do it, freaking do it. Don't like hold back in other areas because Luis was like, "Oh, I heard that who is it, Donnie Yen?
Yeah.
That
Donnie Yen.
I heard he's in it. Oh my gosh, he was in It Man and he's so good.
he was in
and
Rogue
blah, blah,
One.
blah. He was in Rogue One. He's like, was it like really good fighting? And I was like,
I can't
Jet
like.
Li was in it. Did he do a lot of fighting? Like,
Nah,
why?
he had a bad wig.
Why did we not? Good.
Sorry.
God, it was bad. But like, why did we not do it then? Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna do it, do it.
I
We literally
Like they
saw
almost
one.
just used them for their name.
We saw one like whoa whoa, and then that's it.
yeah, I agree.
He did like one flip with his like thing at the end,
both Donnie Yen and Jet Li, who are both action stars in their own right.
which is the one from Rogue One.
Rogue One is
Is
Donnie
Donnie
Yen,
Yen.
who
Love
is
that
Commander
dude.
Tung.
God, he was so
he
good in
play,
that.
he played Chirrut Imwe, the guy who's like,
Mhm.
I'm one with the Force is one with
Yeah,
me.
I freaking
Right.
love him.
And he's awesome in that movie, right? In Rogue One, he's kicking all kinds of butt. And then this, he kicks a couple butts, but it's nowhere near on the level of what we obviously know he is capable of.
Like, if you're gonna do it, just like hit me hard with it. Because
Right.
this is the what other Disney live action movie or really Disney movie in general
Were you
can
gonna
you
do
do
it
it?
Yeah.
Like you, I feel like they squandered the opportunity.
I guess they
to
wanted
really
their
make it.
focus to be on Mulan, but even with her, I'm like, keep going.
She
Let's
didn't really
more.
fight as much as I was expecting.
I mean, she fought a fair amount. I liked the fighting in this, but yeah,
I did like the fighting, but I still
could have
wanted
been more. Yeah, for
You
sure.
didn't want more?
I absolutely wanted more.
Yeah.
So Jet Li, he plays the Emperor in this movie. And-
like this.
yeah, I'm not sure what was going on with Jet Li. I tried to look it up, but
it was more
I
the way
think
his
that's
face
probably
was
what
not
they
moving.
told him to do.
well, at one point he gets like captured by Boris Khan, and and
Boris
so
Khan.
I'm fully expecting a fight scene to happen, right? And maybe Jet Li loses the fight, but he's still gonna kick butt through the way. But yeah, as we said, the goatee around his mouth seemed to be constricting his entire lip movements. He wasn't really opening his mouth while he was doing this movie, and then he doesn't have a fight scene at all. He gets
No,
captured.
no,
Like
doesn't
barely.
fight.
He does like a little fling, and that's it.
But I mean,
We could have at least fought on some scaffolding,
Yeah.
and then
No,
got
they
tied
just,
up or
they
something.
just tied him up.
Like,
and I was thinking like,
What?
maybe Jet Li's, maybe he's getting older. He can't do some stunts anymore and stuff like that. But like, I think he's like in his mid-50s, and Jackie Chan's just blowing him out of the water. He should feel bad. You know what I'm saying? As
I
a
don't
as a martial
know.
arts action star, I don't unless he got like seriously injured and I just couldn't find it. But he kind of embarrassed me in this movie. I was like, Jet Li, come on,
But maybe
let's
they
go.
told him not to. You
Throw
know
a
what?
kick,
And this
throw a
is what I'm
flip.
saying. Maybe they just put these people in their movies for their names to get you to watch it. But she was like, I'm just gonna have Mulan do all the fighting. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
And
I
save
think
the
that's
day.
the
but she didn't
directive
do
route.
enough for me to feel like satisfied.
But I
with
think
it.
that's the
Right.
directive route she was going.
maybe.
I
yeah,
think.
yeah, possibly. I'm not completely sure what.
I'm about to go watch Iron Fist after this too.
That was pretty cheesy.
I mean, yeah, that didn't have as much fighting in it as I wanted either.
No.
You know,
But I still
watch
like
Dragon
it.
Ball Z after this.
Whoa.
Good God.
So, yeah. So Mulan gets to the point where she has to rescue the Emperor, Jet Li, and Bori Khan has him tied up. Jian Yang is there, and she's starting to have a change of heart. She's really feeling for Mulan and her cause rather than Bori Khan and his
Bori
stupid
Khan's like,
stupid
you led
mission
her
or whatever.
here, and she's like, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Totally
How about
let her
that?
here.
She
What up?
basically is like, I will not be your slave. I will not do all this stuff. And then Bori Khan shoots an arrow at Mulan, and she goes in front of it in her bird form and dies. That was very lackluster to me.
That was the worst.
I think all
scene.
three of us went,
It was
"Oh."
so weird.
It
Like,
looked
that's
like
how
they
they
threw. Am I right in what I said last night? It literally looked like.
Well,
say
it
it.
looked like they threw like what do you call it? Like a stuffed pheasant in the
Yes.
air, and then just shot something at
Like
it,
a
and then
fake
she
bird.
dropped down, and then it just turned
Well,
into a
it was
person on
like
the floor.
that was it. Like, what I really wanted, and we said this at the end, is like, she should have been like, nah, Boricon, I ain't your slave. And her and Mulan should have both fought him.
Yes.
And made it like super freaking cool.
Yeah, like a super lady fight.
Yeah.
And then if she had died
even if
there,
she
I would have
died,
been
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's so weird
Like,
because
what do you, what?
they show Zhang Yang as this ultra powerful character, the most powerful character in the
She
movie.
basically
hands,
says
sure.
at one
hands
point,
down.
like, I could kill you so easily right now.
Right, easily,
But,
and
then she went and did that.
we see her shapeshifting so seamlessly and easily, like.
And turning into it like 800 birds and then one person.
Yeah,
like,
so her like flying in front of a single arrow to be
She coulda caught it
completely
with her
killed. Yeah,
hands.
she could have caught it with her bird outfit or whatever.
or like
yeah, she
smacked it out.
there's so many other ways
It didn't make sense.
for her to have stopped that arrow
And then this
aside from with her
character that
heart.
I kind of liked, because I said this earlier, like, I didn't feel that emotional connection to, like, her friends, like how you do in the animated one.
Right,
You know?
I don't remember
But I
all
was
of their
like
names
kind
or
of getting there with this bird lady, but then it fell off, and I was like, whatever.
She had cool makeup. I like that like white stripe.
Yeah, it was cool.
Her,
She was cool.
Her bird face, it was cool. She was a really cool new character that I was really pretty
wanted
happy
to
with
like her.
most of the movie. And then as we're getting to the end and she's starting to turn into a good person, it all kind of just
They
like
could have done so much more.
it just abruptly ends.
Yeah.
Whereas once again that could have led to another cool fight scene.
a very cool fight scene.
Like a very cool fight scene where she like
Fanfic.
actually fights and then maybe is killed by Boricon somehow, and then Mulan has to come in and save the rest of
Tell
the
me
day.
it would have been super sick if like Mulan's on, because they were on the scaffolding for a while and you just know they're gonna fight there just because it's like it's just a really cool place.
Yes.
Like Mulan's on one side, Boricon's in the center, and like Bird Lady keeps going between like 800 bird form to like a single person, and they're like fighting back and forth,
Yeah.
and like she's swarming him, and I mean it totally would have been like what do you call it? Infinity War type idea with
It would've
Thanos
been
in
cool.
the center, but like
Right.
it would have been cool.
Yeah,
It would've
just to
been
have
cool.
like a
And then Jet Li gets out and does a little kung fu, even if it was like
Right.
that much.
Yeah.
All he
Like-
did was throw the little arrow.
Oh yeah, he threw an arrow that
Threw an arrow
Mulan then
into-
kicked again into
right.
Bori's heart.
But yeah, there's just so much cool. There was so much cool potential within this movie that they just did not reach, and it doesn't seem like there was a really good reason why. Also,
It could have been 10 minutes longer.
Yeah.
Like to have like some of these scenes.
exactly.
I didn't feel like it was ridiculously
It's
long.
it's
No, it
it's an
felt
hour and
fine.
55 minutes.
It felt
right under
fine.
2 hours.
It didn't even feel that long.
Take out some Phoenix scenes and put in some more
Yeah,
fighting,
That's what
man.
I'm saying. They could have had Jet Li escape with one hand and then be blocking Boricon and stuff like that. It
Oh,
would've been so cool.
That would have been good.
It would have been so cool.
Shoot,
There-
we need to write our own movie, y'all.
there's just a lot of cool opportunities that I think that they missed in this. But anyway, Mulan, she
arrows Boricon.
Yeah, Zhang Yang has been killed. She fights Boricon on the scaffolding. Jet Li throws an arrow. She kicks it into his chest, and then he dies. Right, Boricon dies, and then the movie is
They go celebrate.
basically over. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They go to celebrate. They shoot off some fireworks.
The Emperor offers her a place on the.
Yes, there is a whole ceremony in honor of Mulan.
Which is cool because like we were talking about, this is very different. I mean, it's not. I mean, they're both very similar celebrations, but this one, instead of them like infiltrating the celebration to tell them that the Huns are coming,
Yeah.
this is a celebration all in Mulan, all in honor of Mulan saving the Emperor, which is really nice for her because she just felt so crappy up until this point.
And the coolest thing about the ceremony
Ooh, I cried
is that
inside a little bit.
her Mulan is introduced by none other than Ming Na Wen.
We
the-
both like scream. We're like, Ming-Na.
It's Ming-Na.
We love
Did you guys
Ming-Na.
know she was in this movie?
No, I had no
No,
idea.
I didn't
I
know.
had zero idea, and when I came home, Luis was like, "Where was Ming Na Wen in it?" And I was like, "How did you know?" He's like, "Everyone's talking about how she was in the movie. How much was
Oh.
she in the movie? Like, was it a big deal?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I was so
I
happy."
mean, I knew
though.
she went to the premiere of the movie, but I just figured that was because she was Mulan.
Sure.
Right? Yeah, I didn't know.
I didn't think she was
she's
making a
Oh,
cameo.
it was
she had
so
a,
good.
She had a very cool
She
little
introduced
cameo.
Mulan.
She's like, everybody, check out Mulan. She's right back here. She's
And
not
she
me.
looked so
If
good.
you don't know about Ming Na Wen, she is
So not only is
insane.
she the voice actress for Mulan, but she's also been in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show for
and Mandalorian,
and
although
she
she
was-
was
That was-
whatever
she was
in that
was
one.
the worst episode of The Mandalorian. And
Yeah.
But I'm gonna talk about like that would have been cool to see Ming Na Wen like as a fighter
yeah,
in this show because
Dude.
in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., she is one of the
She's the best fighter.
fighters
She's so cool.
in.
Yeah, let's see. How could they have worked her in? Let's see her. I mean, maybe
I don't know.
maybe Zhang Yang has been training girls this entire time, right? And so at one
Dude.
point she brings in her.
Well, they could have cast her as the bird lady.
yeah, she could have just been the villain, I suppose. But that would
That would have been weird. Too weird.
I think that would have been too much. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because then she wouldn't have been using her bird powers. She would have been using her fighting
Yeah.
powers.
too much.
And I liked the bird powers.
Right. So, but this is a nice little cameo for her. She just introduces Mulan and then she walks off screen.
It was beautiful.
It's really cool.
It was
to
very
see her.
cute.
So she goes home.
Yeah, she makes
says
her way
bye.
home,
They
but
offer
on
her-
her way
oh,
home,
Oh, that's important though.
They offer her a spot
In the
to
guard.
be like the guard.
yeah, basically the head of the Secret Service. You know?
Yeah. And she
protect
turns
the
it
Emperor.
down because she feels like she's loyal and brave, but she has to be true to her family and go make amends with them because she left. And
And
the
lied.
Emperor's like, that's great because family is very important.
And I don't remember
virtue to
exactly
have.
what
But
she
he words it in a certain way. you
Well,
know?
I don't remember how he says it, but this is where I almost shed a tear because he 100% validated her as a woman in their culture at that moment
Right.
because the matchmaker had said so much about how she was dishonorable and how she would never make a good wife and all these things, and it kind of pans out and he said, what is it like something to
Basically, like you have brought honor to your
right,
family.
and he said, yeah. Well, what's the word though that he uses for this?
I don't know. I didn't write it
I don't
down.
know. I think he says that you've brought great honor to your family.
Well, no, but like I can't remember. Like it's not loyal, brave, or true, but whatever. He uses the whatever word it is, and he says
Devotion to family.
Devotion to family. There you go. And he said, and this is an honorable quality.
Right.
And you're like, okay, like now you know what? If her family doesn't want to love on her,
Yeah.
the Emperor says she a good match.
Emperor
How
said
about
it.
that?
Check
Okay.
it out. I wrote it down.
yeah, so then
It
she's
is.
like, all right, I'm going to go home. So she's going home, but then Shang Li comes up and he's
Hong
like,
Hui.
Hong Hui's like,
Shang.
hey, baby.
What's up, girl?
What's up,
So you a girl, huh?
You didn't say bye to me.
Okay. I
He
see.
literally is like, you didn't say bye to me. Excuse me.
And they like touch hands, and then they kind of give each other like a look. And
Yeah,
that's
it's just a furtive look. He's like, I'm gonna see you again, Hua Mulan. She's like, okay, sure, whatever.
I'm gonna see you again.
Sign me up for the next war.
Yeah.
The
I was
only thing I missed.
truly missing grandma at this point. So she goes home. She sees her dad. She's like,
Can you stay forever?
Dad, I left. I lied. I stole your sword, and I broke your sword and lost your sword. So I'm really
And also,
really sorry
it's
about
important to
that.
know that the family doesn't know what she's done at this point.
Right. They just know that she left for war,
And they're like, thank God she's alive.
and somehow she's making it back.
Yeah. The dad forgives her. And then the army people come in, and he's like, if you're here to take my daughter, like, you're going to have to go through me. And they're like, no, we're here to honor her,
Yeah.
sir. Look at this sword. You know,
Sir.
she saved the whole emperor. And then the matchmaker
The whole
lady
Emperor.
is like, oh, in the background. She's like fainting.
And the sword it says loyal, brave, true, and devotion to family on the
Yeah.
back. She brought honor to them all. It was cool.
And she's about to go back and be like,
Right. And so now she's gonna go take the position of Emperor's Guard or whatever.
Which I really do appreciate that, like, she now, not is she just, like, gonna get married and have a good life. Like, no, she out there gonna go be commander of the guard. Like,
Right.
that's very cool.
which is dope. And so that's the end of the movie. And
yeah, we get Christina.
yes,
Oh,
and then
good
Christina
God.
gets to come back, returning champion.
Clap back to 98.
Who I am is I am.
No.
My loyal, brave, and true.
So we had, I think we might have even mentioned this on the last episode, but we had seen that Christina Aguilera was doing the songs for this movie again, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what in the world? How did she? What kind of contract did she write up in 1998 to be able to get to do this again?
Babe, she's still putting out music. I'm sure they
Is
asked
she?
her to do it.
All right, I believe
Does
that.
she still
sure.
put out music?
I think so.
Oh.
It's probably not good, but.
I mean, I'm just gonna do a quick Google
Am I
search
loyal, brave, and
of
true?
the last Christina
That's
Aguilera
what she
album.
sounds
I
like.
Because-
won't lie. That's not.
I mean, you know, with like Beauty and the Beast, they had Ariana Grande and John
Blech.
Legend jump in there. And for Frozen, they had what was her name?
Demi Lovato.
Demi Lovato. They
Yeah.
picked the new hip hot people or whatever.
Hippity hoppity.
The new
The
hippity
hippity
the new hippity hoppities.
They're gonna say that Christina's still hippin' and hoppin'.
And Christina, I mean,
They
as
had
much
her
as-
hair looking bad in both of those videos.
Yeah, I mean, I think her hair might just be bad at this point. Even
Oh,
her Apple Music
Christina.
Let me
cover
see it.
photo isn't great.
Oh,
she's got these.
Christina.
Oh.
She's got these bad
Girl,
bangs.
did
know
you
what
know
I'm saying?
that they made me get rid of my bangs a couple years ago?
They made me. Okay,
We made her.
She did put out an album in 2018, so I guess she's still hippity hoppity. But anyway, she gets to do the
Instead of
two
Hop,
the
a
two
hippity
credit
hippity.
songs. She does Reflection, a revised, updated version, and then a new song called Loyal, Brave, True, which is fun.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Is
She
it?
takes on a whole different
I'm
vibe
loyal,
with Reflection,
brave,
though.
and true.
Because I'm used to look at me
Mhm.
if you anything.
Well, the good thing is she takes out the 90s of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's less 90s,
And
right?
it's very much
It's not,
like a
it's gonna be me. It's not that, you know.
like it's much more powerful, but I don't necessarily like it.
Yeah.
So we all agreed when we were watching this because, and I'm actually like annoyed about it, that, so the Loyal, Brave, and True, oh no, I'm lying to you. I'm lying to you. Loyal, Brave, and True sings songs, whatever. Then Reflection comes on,
Right.
sung by Christina. Then
Oh,
Reflection
yeah.
plays in Mandarin.
And that one's
look
the
this
best
up.
and
one.
that is the best of all three. Like, why didn't we just have
You should have just
freaking
done that one
Reflection done by Mandarin in
in Mandarin.
like at the beginning?
It's crazy
It
because
was
Like,
so
it was
pretty.
so much better.
you know
Who
we're
sang that one?
we're watching the credits. We're looking at it. We're listening to the song. Oops, Reflection from Mulan.
Yeah, that one was good.
We're listening to the songs, and then
And we went, ooh.
and then this Mandarin version comes on, and it's like
So
so
pretty.
you've heard Christina Aguilera sing. You know what she sounds like. She sounds fine. All right, she's singing this new version of Reflection, and it sounds fine. And then this Mandarin lady comes in, and
It's
it's
so pretty.
beautiful.
Like,
I'm
and
like,
that,
oh
it's
my
literally like
God.
this angelic voice of how you picture Mulan singing this.
Oh
It's
yeah,
so good.
I even was like, is that the actress singing this? Like, it just
It
was.
could, yeah.
It was peaceful
sang it,
and
babe?
beautiful
I'm still
and
trying to find out.
perfect.
Go to the album.
It would have been better had they just done that. Like, you don't have to
Right. Oh,
take
yeah.
it out of. Ugh.
I can't just go to the
Wow.
soundtrack.
See, and Andre can't even find who sang it.
Well,
This is the
Which is
issue.
embarrassing.
I'm googling badly, but actually, yeah, it's not in here.
It's
Where
not
is it?
listed on the album.
It's not listed on the soundtrack on
Well, that's an
IMDb.
issue.
Yeah. What about here?
Is
Okay,
it
here
on
we
the
go. Here we go.
soundtrack?
Yeah, it's on the soundtrack. It is. Oh, it just says Reflection Mandarin. It doesn't say who sings
Are
it.
you serious?
Come on. All right, give me a minute. Talk amongst
Well,
yourselves.
That's embarrassing because it's beautiful.
Well, don't tell Luis that
yeah, don't
because
tell Luis
that's
that.
really ridiculous.
Yeah, a Reflection Mandarin, but who sang it? Even I know who the girl is from Frozen. I should know who.
Who is it?
I forgot her name, but it's a girl from Sweden.
Oh,
Oh, Iceland. She's from Iceland.
From Iceland. All right.
at
you
least
guys.
she gets credit for
Yeah.
her Wow.
Mm.
With that being said, is there any way to even tell what money is on this? Like, how many people?
Not
like,
really, but it does have Rotten Tomato stuff.
Oh, well, that's good.
Oh, it is her.
It's her?
It's Liu Yifei, who plays Mulan. She sings, the actress, the Chinese-born American actress, recorded the song in Mandarin, and Disney released this video promoting it. Holy
Okay,
moly.
So it is
I
her.
am mad then.
That's
why
nuts.
Why
then
are you
What
pushing that one?
is that is so stupid.
You should be pushing that one.
Guys,
I'm mad.
listen, you don't know Mandarin, right? You don't know, I don't know. I'm telling you, the Mandarin version of
It's so
Reflection
good.
is so good.
I'm really mad right now.
Yeah,
They should
I
have just
can't
had that. They
believe it.
didn't need. Christina could have just done the Loyal, Brave, and True song.
Sure.
And it
And
could
then
have
they
been
could have
like
just put the
like out
Mandarin.
in like left
Right.
field.
Yeah.
And then they could have just not had her do the Reflection and just had this one.
Holy moly.
Wow.
Anyway,
And why isn't she credited for that? Like, it's gore.
No, why did that take you so
Yes.
long to look up?
I don't know. Because, yeah, it's not listed on the soundtrack
Wow.
in
I'm-
IMDb or on the Wikipedia page.
That's
Whatever.
issue.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, yes. So, once
This is
again,
where it gets interesting.
this movie was released just days ago on Disney+.
How many reviews is that?
So,
are there?
out of 219 views, this movie has a tomato score of 79%.
219 critics.
Yes, of 219 critics.
But out of how many audience?
So the audience score is 55%, and there are 5,000 user ratings.
55%.
55%.
Yeah, so 79 versus 55.
So, the critics' consensus is, it could have told its classic story with greater depth, but the live-action Mulan is a visual marvel that serves as a stirring update to its animated predecessor.
Simple.
Agreed.
To the point.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Indeed.
It had so much potential.
Yeah.
It didn't flop.
Yeah.
No.
But, like, it just...
Could have gone farther.
Yeah.
We were soaring for a second. and
Right.
It just...
And I think we'll probably get into more of why that audience score is 55% on Cracking the Vault.
Yeah, we can get
Oh,
into
that's
that a little
true.
bit more. I will say, as we rate this, that like last night I was describing this movie as like a really good, not a really good, but a good movie, but that suffers a lot from its weird problems. And I was saying that it's basically like a lower rung Marvel movie. You know, it's a good movie. It's very watchable, but it's just nowhere near as good as some of the other stuff that's.
And
that's out
also, I
there.
need to rewatch
It's like
it
a
because
Thor Dark
Dark
World.
World.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I kind of agree with that. But I also need to rewatch it because usually, like, my first run is just natural instinct watch. You know what I mean? So my second run, I'm paying more attention, and then my third run, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why Andre and I end up rewatching so many movies because we're like, we need to see that again for X, Y, Z reasons.
Yeah. We watch.
Or watch Infinity War 5 times in the theater. It's fine. So I need to I actually want to rewatch it, so I probably will.
Yep.
I think what's really interesting about this, though, is that our problems with the story are that we're not getting enough when this
Right.
is a remake where we shouldn't have that feeling. We should be like, oh, no, I know what. You know, like.
I mean, that's true.
But that just kind of shows that there are holes.
Yeah.
Like, that should
Yeah.
have been attended to.
And you know, it's interesting. Like they discuss a backstory for both Boris Khan and for Zhang Yang, right? They both like tell each other and a couple other characters their own backstories, but I don't really have a clear image
Of
of
any
I'm not that invested
of either of
in
them.
most of the characters in this movie.
No.
yeah.
Like, emotional investment for most of these characters is not quite there.
Well, and it's funny because we watched some
I
of
liked
the extras.
dad.
Oh, I liked the dad too.
yeah.
We watched some of the extras that came along with purchasing this content, and it was funny to listen to the directors and the actors talk about all the feelings of love and camaraderie that they were trying to push
Mm-hmm.
through the screen, and how love was like the director literally said, love is the driving force of Mulan's actions.
Right.
And I looked at Andre and Michelle and was like, I didn't feel that.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't
No, it was
say-
very interesting
I
hearing
wouldn't-
them talk about it and not feeling it.
I wouldn't say love was the reason she did anything. It was more about honor. And
Yeah.
honor and love to me are not the,
not
same,
the same thing. Right.
And camaraderie was not the first word I would use.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of got there with their camaraderie, but once again, there wasn't enough character exploration of those side characters. Like, they weren't differentiated quite well enough, or had as much exposure to even for me to care about them and their camaraderie
Like,
and their relationships
yeah.
individually with Mulan or anything like that. You know,
No.
there was just like the hungry one, and then the one who was definitely into Hua Jun, and then Cricket, you know, and then a couple other guys who.
Well, and actually, it's funny that you say they're all new characters because they actually all were named the same.
They were all named
Yeah,
the
they
same.
were
There's
like-
Po and
like Po.
Wait, they were?
Yes. Zhao or Yao Po was the hungry one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cricket.
Who
Oh,
said
yeah.
he gained 30
Po
pounds or
Yao
40 pounds for this movie?
Po, Yao, Ling, and Cricket.
Yeah,
Oh,
they were,
shoot.
and
They
Ling
were?
was the guy that was like
Yeah.
in the cartoon.
Right.
So the fact that you're saying they're new and we didn't make that connection,
Because I felt a disconnect. I told you
exactly
that.
that
Right.
shows you that it was not done well enough.
Yeah. I suppose so.
Because I agree with you. I totally was like I knew the names of the characters in the animated one.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's interesting.
All right.
And the only reason I know that they're the same guys is because I looked up the characters to see someone for a kung fu
Interesting.
reference.
Well, I mean, I kind of got it because they do say a couple of their animated lines. At one point, they're all sitting at a table and it's like, I don't care what she looks like. It's all about what she cooks like. And they're like, oh, okay, I see what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's the big one.
Yeah.
I get it now.
But that was the only inclination you got
Right,
from that.
that was
so
it.
that's really interesting.
Indeedy. All right, let's rate this bad boy.
I'll go ahead and start. I'm going to give this movie... I'm going to give it a 7.5. I was originally going to give it a 7, but I'm going to give it a 7.5 for what it's worth. It is good. We'll see how I feel upon the second viewing. I don't like the live action remakes, and my expectations were way too high with this one. But 7.5, I still feel like it's a good rating. I liked it. I'll watch it again.
Yep.
Andre.
I think I'm gonna give it the same. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I really like the action. The story changes that they made were cool, and I like the concepts behind Mulan and her chi and all of this stuff. It's just that and even the cinematography looked really good, but there was
cinematography gorgeous.
Like it was a gorgeous movie, but at sometimes the CGI didn't look that great, and then the editing was off in quite a few places, enough that it was noticeable. But the score was good. I really liked
and the hawk pheasant butcher.
Yeah, and then the friggin' phoenix just kept rearing its beautiful head every
It's
5 minutes.
fiery
It felt like, yeah. But overall, it's a good movie, and I will watch it again. 7.5. Schmemily.
Oh, it's my turn.
Schmemily.
Schmemily. I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7. I'll give it a 7.5. I mean, I'll get kung fu into it. I liked it, but this kind of felt less Disney. Okay, had we taken the music out, which it was very distinctly like a Disney score,
Right.
if you had taken the score out, it would have felt like some other studio made Mulan. Like that's kind of what it felt like to me. It didn't
Interesting.
quite like make me feel like this was a Disney film. But then again, it's hard to say that too, because other live actions are kind of
They're kind of doing that same
Right.
thing.
Yep.
They're trying to make their own spin on it. Or
I
whatever.
didn't like the Lion King one. Like that was.
I
one
didn't
of
watch
the-
it. I won't lie to you.
I don't
Well, I
think
mean-
you
I watched
should.
Aladdin and I liked it, and
That's
they
okay.
tried to do like spins, but there was also issues there too. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like the original ones, like Maleficent or Alice
Yeah.
in Wonderland
Yeah.
and Pirates of the Caribbean. Like
And
all that's fine.
You could, well, yeah, I guess you can't say that this one's really that original in terms of its storytelling. But like, yeah, we're finding out that there's no great way to do this. You can do it exactly the same as the animated version and fail, and you can do it completely different as the animated version and fail. You just,
Yeah.
I mean,
My favorite
I
one
think-
still is Beauty and the Beast.
I think mine is Maleficent, honestly.
Oh yeah, I like Maleficent a lot.
Yeah,
But anywho,
but that's so
with
different.
neither here nor there.
Yeah,
I think that this is a good movie. I think that my major problem with it is that it did not go where it could have, and I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw where it could have gone, and I feel like it just was like climbing up a mountain and then was like, I'm tired, I'm going to go home now.
yeah.
And that's just hard for me because why did you do this to us if you're not going to take us there?
Yeah.
Um,
You know what I kind of wondered is that since they have like really they really superhero-ified Mulan, right? Like
Yeah.
she's basically got superpowers, and she's got a superhero job at this point. And there are supervillains out there who can harness the bad version of her powers, right? So they could theoretically franchise this
they could.
and easily make a Mulan 2 where the Emperor's in trouble again, or her dad's in trouble or something like that, and she's got to go fight again. So I wonder if they held off on some stuff thinking that they were going to make more. I don't know that that's true, but it's possible. This one, of all of
could
the
have.
live action remakes, seems like it's most suited for having a sequel,
That's true.
I
don't know. I don't disagree with you that could be a theory, but I would have rather them go like gung ho and then gone like the same amount of gung ho in the second one
Right.
and felt like, well, it was good either way.
Exactly.
Because here I just feel like,
It's we got the short shrift
Yeah.
of Mulan. Alas. Hey, guys.
Wasn't bad though.
Yeah,
No, it
not
wasn't
bad.
bad.
But you watched it too, all right? And we want to know what you thought, because we're all over the place, and we've all only seen it once. And Luis has seen it 0. You know what I'm saying? So let us.
and he's sitting in the room jamming right now.
He's
Has,
got
like,
big old
music in his
headphones
ear.
on. So please let us know what you thought of the new Mulan. Hit us up in the comments. We're at the Walt Vault Pod on everything. Hey, next week, what are we doing? We're doing
What are we
Ooh,
doing?
The Rescuers.
1977's The Rescuers.
I know nothing about this. Are these tiny mice?
These are mice.
These are the mice one, yeah.
And they are private eyes or detectives or something like that, and they're on a mission.
Are they? Didn't we just watch one that was like mice?
That's the Great Mouse Detective.
We were also Grace Mouse Detective.
But these are different mice.
But he was a detective.
They're in different parts of the world, and I think they're a couple. I kind of can't remember. We're gonna find out with you next week.
Is this the one you've been wanting us to watch, or was the Great Mouse
The
Detective?
Great
the one
Mouse
you-
Detective was the
Oh,
one I
okay.
was super excited for.
I like The Rescuers.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're watching the first Rescuers, not the sequel. We'll maybe get to that one eventually. But anyway, you guys, thank you guys so much for listening to this pretty long episode of The Walt Vault. We are at The Walt Vault Pod on social media. You can send an email to contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you think about Mulan and the direction and the style and all that stuff. We are going to talk a little bit about the controversy surrounding this movie on The Crack in the Vault, which is our after show, which you can find exclusively on patreon.com/The Walt Vault. Go there. We've got not only extra podcasts, but extra I put my notes up for each movie, and there's some gameplays. There's extra stuff there. Go there, sign up. It's only $1. It's cheap and easy, and it helps us keep the lights on in this dark vault. All right, you guys, thank you guys so much for listening. That's been it for this week. Thank you for joining us on this very special episode of The Walt Vault. We will see you next week for some Rescuers goodness. The vault is now closed.